So let's play panic and don't panic. So throw me some names and we'll discuss whether it's time to panic or not.
All right, let's start with Matthew Tkachuk, who I actually sat a few days ago in my other pool.
Yeah, so no goals in his first 5 games. And you do have to wonder, is the recovery a little bit slow coming back from the scary sternum injury that he suffered in the Stanley Cup final? Overall, I grade him as a don't panic. He's still showing elite play driving ability, his line, so it's consistent with what we saw last year. So I do think the points are going to come. He's playing better than the overall numbers indicate, so he's definitely a don't panic for me. He's still going to be a first round value as a player this year.
He still played like pretty solid hockey while like half put together during the playoffs when he was already injured. So like when he gets fully back into the swing of things, I'm not worried at all. Here's a guy I'm also not worried about because we know he's up and down, but will often get back up. Connor Hellebuyck.
So Connor Hellebuyck, 878 save percentage after 4 games. And obviously the Jets are not going to be as good this year. At least I don't think they are after what they gave up and what they brought in to replace Pierre-Luc Dubois and Blake Wheeler. I don't think what they got is as good as what they gave up over the summer. So the wins are going to be harder to come by. Overall, what I'm really worried about is Connor Hellebuyck plays better with bad defense in front of him. Historically, he's had a great career as a Jet, and they're always leaving him hanging out to dry. This year, the Jets' defensive metrics are better, and I think that's actually a problem for Connor Hellebuyck. Last year, I interviewed him, and he told me he's a rhythm goaltender because I talked to him about getting shelled playing so much. He's a goalie who plays better when he's getting a lot of action. He's not getting as much action because the Jets are a bit better defensively. His numbers are suffering, and that's actually a concern because also the Jets as a whole, maybe they're going to score less too. They're not going to win as many games. If he's not as busy, he might not be as effective. So I'm actually calling Connor Hellebuyck a panic. That doesn't mean he's going to be terrible, but I don't know if he's going to be a top 3 fantasy goaltender this year. He might be more of a top 10 to top 12. So I think there's some reason to worry there.
Okay, that's fair enough. I expect him to play fewer games than the last couple of years. The one thing I'll say is he was on After Hours on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday, and just kind of hearing him explain how he was a walk-on in the NAHL, which is like technically the same level, I believe, as the USHL, but not exactly super highly regarded. You don't ever really get a ton of top prospects in that league. And he was a walk-on on his team after going undrafted in the NAHL draft and the USHL draft. And you look at him now. So it's kind of a cool story there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, Jared McCann.
Yeah, so the Seattle Kraken, obviously, they do not look like what they were a year ago. They were a team that was scoring by a lot of depth. They had some puck luck, and Jared McCann was one of them. Had 40 goals last year, but he did it shooting 19.8%. His career mark is 12.1, so he was a very obvious regression candidate going into the year. Now we see he has 2 goals, 2 points in 6 games. I'm not actually that surprised. We knew the puck luck was not sustainable. He's shooting at 11.8%, much closer to his career norm. So I don't think he's going to go back to the 40-goal level. I think we're looking at more 25, maybe 30. So if you're basing the panic, don't panic question on the standard he set last year, then I say panic. I don't think you're going to get that version of Jared McCann.
Yep. Yeah, Seattle's just not a good spot to be picking up dudes right now. Next up, it is Trevor Zegras of 1.5 games. I actually had a conversation with someone else in my league about whether he should pick up Zegras or Carlson, and I'm like, well, I really like Carlson, but Zegras still feels like the safer bet, and Carlson then ended up getting a healthy scratch. But Zegras still only has 1 point to show for.
Yes, 1 point in 5 games. I typically have been a Trevor Zegras apologist. I believe in the talent, even if his game is not complete. And if you look under the hood, he is driving the play. The shot attempts, the high danger attempts, those are all up. So he's actually playing well. He's only 22 years old. So I do think the points are coming. I'm actually not worried despite the ugly start to the season. So I'm calling Trevor Zegras a don't panic.
Okay. I got to agree there. And then we're heading back to Toronto. I guess it's not Morgan Riley anymore, but you want to talk about Tyler Bertuzzi, if I'm correct?
Yes, I did have Morgan Riley. So if anyone's watching, that's why the graphic said that. But then I changed my mind and I wanted to talk about Tyler Bertuzzi. So Bertuzzi, 1 goal in 5 games. I don't think he has shown a lot of chemistry with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. And I've said it before, it's not about speed per se, but it's more like mentally. I just don't know if he's keeping up with their creativity. I'm not thinking it's a great fit. Now we know Sheldon Keefe has already implied that Tyler Bertuzzi is playing through some kind of injury as well. He's not 100%. He's only playing 15 minutes, 15:56 a game. So everything I'm seeing so far, it's early, but I'm not loving the fit with Bertuzzi and the Leafs at this point in the season. So even if he does find a fit, it might end up being lower in the lineup. So I would say panic if you are a Tyler Bertuzzi owner.
I will point out, though, we talked a lot in the offseason about Matthew Nyes, Max Domi, and Tyler Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi's got the 1 point. Max Domi's got 3 assists. He's finally starting to figure out. Matthew Nyes scored twice in a game, 3 points in 5 games at this point. Kind of quiet from those three. And they all started a little, well, other than Bertuzzi, but we saw Domi and Nyes start to pick up the last couple games. But are you concerned about the trio?
Not really. I think if I was making predictions at the start of the year, to me, Domi is who he thought he was. He's a player who's great on bad teams. He's not so great on good teams. He's going to play lower in the lineup. He's bad defensively, has some skill and grit. To me, he's kind of as advertised. Bertuzzi, I did expect to show a little more, so maybe that's a bit of a surprise. But Nyes is the guy that I was projecting eventually to win that battle. And I think he does look the best out of the three early on, so I'm not surprised.
Okay. I can't disagree there.